Hey, good morning, sir. How the
Good
heck are you
morning.
doing, Kevin?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, it's the best day ever. You know why?
Black Friday?
That's because I'm here with you guys talking about data.
Oh, I thought we were all going shopping, right? I thought we were
Oh,
early, and this was going to be like the shopping episode, and we're going to show, hey, here's what you need to buy.
yeah. Let's review the top 5 Amazon deals on Black Friday today.
Man, I've
Yeah,
been getting all those emails.
yeah. I hear you. Good morning, everybody. Um, Hey, if you are shopping on Amazon, I put our affiliate link in the a chat. I used to do that on a regular basis. I don't know why I stopped doing that. Like all you have to do is click on that and then just go buy where the heck you want. And like that helps the channel out. Someone clicked on a link I would support like for like a sequel book or a sequel BI book. They clicked on that book. They didn't buy the book. Then they bought like a $10,000 table, and I got like $58 or something like that for it. So.
Man, you just raking it in over
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I am definitely not running in the red for the year every single year in a row. But that's totally fine. When my wife asks, like, why do you do all this YouTube and spend all this money on this stuff? I say, because it's my hobby. I don't go golfing 0 times a year. Is there like $300 green fees or greens fees that I'm paying? I never buy a $1,200 driver. Only come and I spend time with you guys. That's where I pour all my
well,
time and
that's
attention.
great.
Yes. Yeah, and oh hey, here is Sean Lilly. Good morning, Sean. Good to see
Morning,
you.
Sean.
Sean, this is is the first member of Kratos BI. So Sean, thank you so much for becoming a member. If you
Wow.
guys want to become members, it's for as little as $5 a month. You too can become a member of the of Kratos BI YouTube channel. And if we ever get like there's tiers, and like if you get up to that like whatever producer level or something else, I got a special name for it. I gotta get better at that. Your name will appear in the credits and stuff like that. So
Wow.
thank you, Sean. And that's welcome to everyone. At $5, you get advanced access to all of the videos that I publish. So there have been 717 videos so far that I've published. I'm looking forward to the next 717. And here's how it works. If you're a member, the second I upload a video, you get access to all of them. And I'll be honest, most of my video recordings are all done on like Saturdays. Like I'll record like a dozen or something like that, and then I'll schedule them out. You can get access to them that Saturday, where everyone else has to wait. But if you're
Oh,
not a
I
member, don't worry, it's all free. There's no like real paywall that I'm trying to put up here.
You
You'll get
just gotta
access
wait
to
a
all this
couple
stuff.
more days.
Yeah, just gotta wait a couple days. But if you
So if you're in
want to
a
support
hurry
the
like
channel,
Sean,
right?
Sean's a busy man. He's got a lot to do, so he's got to get them all on that one Saturday.
Yes. Yep. That is exactly right. So, good seeing
Uh,
everyone. Okay. So, how do you like your turkey, Kevin?
I didn't have any turkey yesterday.
You didn't have turkey
I had
yesterday.
no turkey yesterday.
Were you locked out of America? What happened?
No, we go out to dinner, and we went to a Brazilian steakhouse, and so
So,
a
yes,
lot
you
of
were
meat.
locked out of
It
America.
was locked out.
You went to Brazil for
Well, they did have a turkey on the menu and whatever,
okay.
but I didn't get it. So I'm
Hmm.
not a huge turkey fan a lot. It's just I don't know, kind of got sick of it and everything. I've tried
Hmm.
making it a couple different ways. I've tried deep frying it. I've smoked turkeys and done the standard in the oven and everything, but you know, like Stina in South Dakota, cheeseburgers for Thanksgiving.
All right, cheeseburgers. I'm I deep fry mine. They turn out amazing. My wife makes an amazing Thanksgiving casserole. It is out of this world. And straight up, we went to a Thanksgiving at my brother-in-law's house yesterday. It was a wonderful time. But tomorrow we're gonna like make all of this stuff for Thanksgiving just so we can have that casserole, and it is out of this world.
How many turkeys do you end up deep frying?
This year will be 3.
I was gonna say because you can't just do one because I mean the cost of the oil is
Yeah.
you know, you
Yep.
have to do a bunch. So
Yeah. Well, you could do 3. They recommend just 2 from what I've never done more than 2 on a batch of oil, because it doesn't last, like,
right,
once you fry, you introduce, foreign particles.
impurities and everything into it. Yep, yeah, it starts getting nasty.
And
Yep,
Donald's talking about doing brisket for Thanksgiving.
always a
That
good
sounds
idea.
amazing. Um, Kevin, are you a brisket guy?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Get the big packer briskets from Costco, 16 pounds, 17 pounds. Prep it all the night before, put it on the smoker,
Mm.
let it go all overnight. It's great. Love doing that. And then my son eats off of it for like a week, you know?
Well, so I am also gonna, like, just let people know. I think we're on the verge of starting a second YouTube channel. It is going to be Kratos Eats, um, where we'll be doing things like showing you how to deep fry a turkey, apparently learning how to smoke or roast a brisket. That we'll do that as well. Um, so yes, I could share and what I know there, Fernando. We'll definitely do that.
Did I
Oh, and
name my name? Yeah, because I saved the turkey, it's gobbles, right? So yeah,
yeah.
just I'm as powerful as the White House. I pardon one of the turkeys, one or two of the turkeys a year.
Oh, it's good to
Mm.
be international today. So, Jaya, oh gosh, I hope that's right. Jaya, good morning. Good to see you. I don't even know what time it would be in Japan right now. I'm guessing later in the day, but all right. Well, let's start diving into it. Ignite was last week. Tons and tons of big
Mhm.
announcements that came out of it. So, Kevin and I are going to, like, run through all of the ones. If you've been watching, great. We're going to be talking about all of the big announcements today. Maybe we'll do a live demo of what works, what doesn't work, what we have challenge on, or challenges with. Um, so you know how we do it here.
I
Welcome to the to the live. We're doing it live here.
Right, so we'll have challenges the whole morning.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
if you've been able to use them and kinda messed with it, let us know in the chat, put that down.
Hmm.
We're seeing some things from some people coming out, but some of us just don't have access to everything, and Chris and I were comparing. He has access to some things that I don't have. I have access to some things that he don't have, so it's kind of interesting to roll out this time.
Yeah. Normally it's one big swap. You either have all the
Yeah,
functionality or you don't, and now it is not it's not that same experience. So if you're there saying, hey, I don't have access to A or I'm missing B, you are not alone in that, right? Uh yes, and Donald
yep,
actually is hitting on it. We did see that there's going to be Python and Fabric for small things, direct Python, no nodes necessary. It's just going to run and operate or something like that. I haven't seen many details on that.
yeah, so that I saw that light up in one of the tenants I was working on, um, and I did it, it's just right there with the same as when you choose a notebook, and you could say you have those bunch of language for, Spark notebooks, and then just Python itself, and then T-SQL by itself. And so I did a Python one where I was just kind of goofing around with something, and it's a very similar experience. I like that they gave some code examples for if you still wanted to mount it to a lake house and everything. How you get to the data in the lake house is different, and then writing some of it is a little bit different as well. But they give you these code examples and talk about what to do in there. You're going to have a lot less memory, so you work with less data. But they, in their example, they talk about that, and they say you could use things like DuckDB, other type of stuff, and so it's all right there when you do it. You got us.
Let me resize myself. Like my cameraman's not as smooth as we like. We'll have to like talk to him
We
about
need a
his
new producer.
transitions. Yeah.
But yeah, Donald, that's a good one. I'm looking forward into figuring out when to use it, when not to use it.
Mhm.
I think there's going to be some things that we talk a lot about semantic link labs and stuff like that, but like if you are constantly for whatever reason rebinding a report or whatever, right, and all you need to do is spin up a small instance, right? I think that'll work great because I know developing on even some of the smaller capacities, when I had an actual capacity I was developing for a client, I would find if I was in multiple windows and forgot to stop the session in my notebooks, I could run out of resources, right?
Mm.
And I've heard others, remember, you kept hearing people going, well, only so many people could develop at a time and things like that. So I think if you do these smaller things, you won't run out of some of these resources. So,
Well, and that will be super nice, right? Like,
yeah.
we don't want to see these things go up and down and run out of, converting, right? Guillermo, we're talking about native Python running in notebooks without a capacity assigned to it. So that's a new functionality that's coming. So that if you've got small little workloads, it's just like execute this one API and super lightweight, right? You won't have to have it attached to a capacity in order to do that functionality. So
Maybe I'm a little confused. I think it's still attached to a capacity. It's just not starting up as big of. It's starting up one node. That one node has two virtual CPUs, and it won't be multiple nodes. It won't be, but I still think it has to run on a capacity. I don't think you could do this in Pro.
well, yeah, okay. I apologize. It does have to be on a capacity, but I thought it didn't consume CUs.
It would consume much less CUs.
Oh, okay.
Because basically, like your starter pools, when they start up, you got a header node, and then it could expand out to put the worker nodes, right?
Mm,
So you're going to be setting up more machines that has more memories and everything. So they're going to charge more CUs for that. Since this is smaller, it's just the one node that's starting up to run just that Python, but it doesn't have PySpark with it and
okay.
everything. So that's why it's just not as big.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
think it's going to be less CUs. I haven't jumped into all the different CU measurements, and I know like the big thing that we'll talk about, right, is that everybody's talking about is the SQL database. We don't know the CUs for that and everything, so it's
Yeah.
still. Do you know?
Let's hang on. Let's
Oh wow! I can't wait to learn something today.
yeah, let's get into it. Before we dive way much deeper than we already are in features announced at Ignite, and I'm not even sure that one was announced at Ignite. I think that was a few weeks earlier.
Might have been.
Uh, but what is your big updates or favorite features that you saw announced at Ignite? Let us know if you've been following. Let us know in the chat what they were, and we will, see what's big. But today, to help us make sure we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's on all the biggest announcements, we're going to be looking at the book of news from Microsoft Ignite. I'm going to be posting the link out into the chat there so you can follow along. Now, this is long AF, right? Like, look at all this. We're not going through all of it, right? Like, it's just a blur. So we're going to be going to under Azure, the data and analytics section. Okay, so this is all we're going to be talking about today. So if you're at home and you want to play along with us, please feel free. But the first thing we're going to be hitting on are Fabric databases. That is the big new thing that was added into Microsoft Fabric. And we've got kind of a, oh, that's not the link on it. Well, all right. I guess I don't have any links ready for that. It's like, come on, man. Okay, here we go. Copy link. I'll share that paste. There's some more details for the databases in there. Kevin, what is your thoughts or take on databases right out of the gate?
Well, based upon what I could read and talking with a couple other people that have seen it, I think there's a little bit of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, if we have data warehouses and we have SQL databases, how do you decide between one or the other? And I think that's going to be something to kind of come up important in a bit. From all the readings and all the announcements and everything, it felt to me at first like it was this play to bring in some type of, hey, if you got a smaller OLTP, or they're playing it up a lot with like AI enabled apps and stuff like that. So bring something besides analytics into Fabric. It felt like that was kind of the play. But I guess, and I haven't been able to stand it up. I haven't seen it, and I think I have it in one tenant, and I haven't been able to mess with it in that client's tenant. But when you stand it up, it still produces the semantic model. It automatically mirrors over to the Delta tables, I think, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if you're doing all of that, then is it going to replace data warehouses? Is it going to just become fuzzier on that?
Well,
And
hang on.
maybe you have all those answers.
I think we could talk to that. All right. So there is still a difference. There is still a difference between OLTP,
Mhm.
online transactional processing, and OLAP, online analytical processing. Okay. OLTP or OLAP, that online analytical processing, is 100% of all workloads that have been done in Fabric fall
Mhm.
under the OLAP concept. So all
Right.
your data engineering leads to workloads that are being used and designed for analytics, right? Everything falls into the bucket of that OLAP so far. Databases, though, introduces the concept of transactional processing so that you can have your applications themselves written directly against Fabric databases so they can write those transactions into it. And you could actually run fairly robust applications against a Fabric database, just like you would an Azure SQL. So if you would use Azure SQL in for a database for in a solution, you could use Fabric SQL in that same solution. Okay, the big benefit is with that OLTP database, you automatically get data that is prepped and ready to be ingested and available in OLAP spaces, but it's truly your raw data or your bronze layer
Mhm.
data. It is not your refined, refactored analytical model, right? OLT databases are going to be designed so that they're operationally efficient for the transactions of the application. OLAP databases are designed so that they're efficient for analytics on top of it, right? That
Mhm.
direct sync is only going to bring that exact same structure that was in place from the OLTP side. So we're still going to need to do, curation. We're still going to need to do cleaning, validation, all of that good stuff, right?
Sure, but if you've done that, say in the past, in a true SQL database, and this
Mm-hmm.
is the good question here too. But if you've
Yep.
done that in a true SQL database in the past, right, there's nothing stopping you from still using that SQL database to do all the transformations into what you need for analytics rather than using the data warehouse of it. I would agree. You're better off going to like a lake house or a data warehouse, I think, right? But let's take for example, a lot of people want the merge SQL statement and available to them. They're used to writing stored procedures with merge, and that's not available in the data warehouse object. But I think
Mm-hmm.
it would be available right in the SQL database because that's coming out with more support, right? Even though I haven't been able to test it, but I think it's there. Um,
No,
you know,
yeah, it's that's definitely there, and I mean, it's Guillermo has it right. The question is it
yeah.
uh, uh, SQL on Fabric or SQL on Azure? What's your what's going to fit best for you? I'll say today, while databases are in private preview, it's definitely SQL and Azure for any production workload. With that said, you should start experimenting, especially if it's a non-critical application that you're going to be standing up. SQL on Fabric is tight. It is well done. It's very available. It's very performant. I've seen some kind of issues as you start to get like closer to scale or the size of your capacity when you get into very large amounts of data. But that's kind of true almost all the time. You know, uh, Azure SQL and that functionality, it's not big data, it's SQL, right? And there's a difference. So I'm very impressed with Fabric SQL. And I'd even say if like you're building out a metadata driven framework for managing all of your processing and transactions and loads and whatnot, Fabric SQL is a rock solid place to go and start to build that out.
Yeah, I could see that to be true. So yeah, I do agree that the right question is, it'll get to, do you want to do your SQL on Fabric or your SQL on Azure? And it may get down to what your sizing is, or like you said, how active the database is. It could be that, in accounting offices, it's a whole lot easier to sell. Here's the one price we're going to pay for this capacity, right? And then I could throw these things on there. You don't have to get that budget approval or whatever, as long as you're managing CUs across the whole thing, right? Which is why it is going to come down to, just like everything, what's the CU consumption, and what can I do to maximize the use of this cost, because I got it through accounting very easily with one regular price every single month. That accounting loves that type of stuff, right? So it's predictable. Where when it's on
And
Azure, it
especially
could
compared to
change.
other
Yeah,
workloads,
yeah.
right? Where all of a sudden it's like, oh, look, we spent $1 million last month. Whoopsies.
Oopsie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Well,
but then, if you start on SQL on Azure, you should immediately look into turning on mirroring, which I think mirroring became GA during all these announcements, right? Or mirroring for Azure SQL, I think
correct.
is GA. Other mirroring is still not, it's still previewed. But
Yes. Yes.
mirroring
Yes.
for Azure SQL, that I've been using that. It works great. It's
hmm
amazing how easy it is to turn on. Um, and you just say, hey, these are the tables I want. It'll let you know if there's something it doesn't support because it doesn't have the right keys, or it's got data types that can't be used or whatever. But I haven't run into many problems with that, and I love that solution. So,
Oh, that's fantastic. Uh, I was I was gonna pull up and show how this would work, but apparently it is not working. So well, actually, you know what? We're gonna do it live because that's the way
That's how we
we
roll.
do it,
Come
right?
on.
So let's head on over to my desktop and let's take a look. So um so for those of you who don't know, I have the first Kratos BI had the first complete Fabric SQL training out video session series out there. There's videos are still coming out. I think the last one goes out Monday. So so right here on this channel you get all of the content you need. But so I've
I
done
hear
a
I
ton
hear
of
Sean has looked at them all already.
oh, I don't know. Um so I have done a ton of updates in this space and or a ton of work in there. So let's go in and let's take a look at what is available. So this is my dev environment. So I've got it all checked in to code. I've got this all synced with Git. I guess I have one uncommitted change here on my database. We'll go ahead and we'll commit that while we're here. I gotta tell you, I'm not I am not a Git person. Like I've always kind of struggled with it because honestly, Git came along like the month after I stopped like active like development lead work. That everybody switched onto it. I'm just like, oh well, and immediately I'm out of date, so that's nice. Uh,
When you say that, are you're referring to the difference between GitHub and Azure DevOps, or just Git in general?
Just Git in general, right?
Okay.
Like we were using, what was our old source control all the
Visual
time?
Studio. There was VS. There was something that was Microsoft unique, and I can't remember what it is. There was other ones.
Yeah.
Visual Source Safe. There's all
Yes.
kinds of
Visual
different
Source
ones.
Safe. Yes. That was my my canvas that I painted on for that stuff.
Mhm.
And then Git came along and immediately I'm like, okay, well, I guess that sucks. But it's easy even for me. So like if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. But this was the SQL database that I spun up. I got this up and running in my development environment. Well, we've got this we've got this really nice performance summary that will come up, and I'm stalling here because like every other time it has popped right up with results. Now, of course, it's not loading super fast. So let's see if we can go take a look at the performance dashboard. Oh, it's because I haven't done anything since last week. Right, so you can easily see where there are spikes. You can see the queries that are run.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, you can see performance, requests per second, block queries, none, size, automatic indexes. I'll say that is a super thing, to automatically apply indexes to your table so that it just keeps it running and super fast. That is nice. So I love that we've got this natively in the service and we can see these things. There we go. Now,
Yeah, we could get into the old DBA debate about automatic indexing. There's good and bad of it. So
yeah. Well, for the large part of people out there, it's a good thing. Especially if you're going to make it, low code self-service databases,
yeah,
right?
I love it for recommendations, but there's times where
The recommendations are bad, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Or it doesn't make sense in your specific situation. So I'll say what this looks like. What I'm showing you is where it's at, like in my demo environment where I only spin stuff up, and then I don't touch it for a week on end, right? Like I'm, 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 I don't use it productively all day long. I will say I've got this up and running for in a different tenant that I can't show you right now, and it actually does a pretty good job of showing you your CU consumption and how many. Well, I guess this is CPUs, but you can kind of relate CPU V cores back to CUs. That kind of makes sense. It's in preview, so you're not going to be charged. So that means you're not going to see it yet inside the admin workspace in your features and adoption. It's just not going to show up in here, right? So I think it's entirely possible that it is in this generic bucket here of
Mhm.
what's going on in all my capacities, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, you would think that they're logging something so that they can mine it and kind of tell what people are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I will say, generally speaking, this is the progress of how it goes. We first go to public preview. When it's in public preview, Microsoft doesn't charge for features. At least 99% of the
Mhm.
time. Maybe they have in the past sometimes, but for the most part, generally speaking, any public preview is not charged. It is not. There's no CU impact. Then the next thing is that they start to show us the CU consumption inside of the Fabric admin, so you can actually see the activities that are going on and who's doing it. And Donald is spot on This decomp tree here is like super powerful.
It is good,
right? In
Yeah.
fact, if you're on this call, you should go and check out how this is set up and how this is a proper way to build out a decomp tree report, where we've got the composition tree on the bottom and then a singular other visual to interact with, right? So you can actually see and watch what's going on and who's causing, the different things. You can actually drill in from there. You can go back on it, but it becomes really easy for you to to interact with this decomposition tree, and the decomposition tree has plenty of space on the page. But generally speaking, though, before it goes to GA or before we start to get charged on it, the activities and workloads will be inside this feature space, and then it'll go GA, and then we'll start getting charged on it. That's gonna be like the progression that we have here. Okay. We do have a question here. What's the difference between Fabric SQL and MySQL? Kevin?
So I'm going to change the question a little bit and say, what's the difference between T-SQL and MySQL, right? Because they're two totally different products. SQL Server, which uses the T-SQL language, is Microsoft's solution. MySQL, I think it's now owned by Oracle somehow, or it started off as an open source. Still might have some open source and everything, but it's actually a different database vendor, right? And so there are differences in the language that's used. T-SQL has a couple extensions. Most databases that support SQL start off supporting an ANSI version of the SQL language, and then add their own extensions, their own changes into it, and in order to kind of differentiate themselves between different things in the market. So, and then Donald put up here about post SQL or post however that one's pronounced, right? So they're all different flavors of implementing SQL databases, right? It's kind of like saying what's the difference between SQL Server and Oracle, right? There's some major differences there, but it's also it's how it's architected, within its engine and everything like that, and how it's all installed. So, they're two totally different products that are similar. So when people are putting on MySQL, they're making a choice to utilize that engine and that language versus whatever is done through Microsoft. So now Microsoft starts out with SQL Server, which has been the favorite for a long time. You could put that onto your own machine, your own VMs, into Azure. In Azure, there's also SQL MI, managed instance is what that stands for. And now the same SQL that we've had in other places is available in Fabric. So it starts out with the exact same core, right? And the way that Microsoft does their code development, they've done a great job of this over the last few years. And I think they've even, like Bob has talked about this, to where they changed some of their development strategy and how they put their code branches together and everything, so that they could easily roll out these new features and get them into all these different flavors, right? Maybe a little bit different timelines, but something that they put in could go over to Azure SQL, and then in the next major release, make it to what you install on your own premise and everything. So, and then it all kind of works the same regardless the platform that you're implementing it on when you buy into the SQL side, the Microsoft SQL side of it. So, did any of that make sense, or was I just rambling, Chris? You weren't listening. You're looking into something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Perfect. But yeah.
No, Kevin, you're exactly.
I know you heard it.
Kevin is exactly right. There are lots of different flavors of SQL database management systems that exist on the planet, and there's the basic ANSI SQL and then an extension. So Microsoft's Transact SQL is a standard platform that's across like virtually everything in SQL. There's only some differences once you start to get into like warehouses and other truly different backends. You're just gonna like start to see like MySQL's got different flavors, Oracle's got some different flavors of SQL. Like they're just there's Postgres, just there's several other flavors out there. But T-SQL is exceedingly common and a very robust solution language.
And Fernando put another one out there too, like in PySpark, right? You got Spark SQL. So again, it's a little bit different. It supports the ANSI standards, right? But there might be a little bit different syntax that you need to use in order to get it to work correctly. This is where your chat GPTs, your co-pilots come into play, right? If you have a piece of SQL written on one platform and just ask it to, hey, change this so that it runs on the other platform, it could do that very easily. So if you go on, hey, I wrote this in T-SQL, give it to your favorite GPT engine, ask it to change it to Spark SQL, and then boom, you're able to use that.
Yeah, there are two programming languages that have the absolute best return rate inside of AI, and that's Python and SQL, because they are the largest code repositories on the planet. Are those two? So and I see Fernando saying the more he knows Python, the less he's likely gonna learn SQL. I gotta tell you, you're going to come around on that one because SQL is used heavily in Python. So, I would still learn SQL, but both of those are going to become much easier for you to ask an AI to generate the code and then work with the AI to adjust it to where, if it's not producing exactly what you want it to be like. All right.
Yeah, I don't think the SQL language is going to die. It's very stable, very, very used, so, and it's like every product that I've seen that's kind of started out with, hey, we're going to do this or that. All of a sudden, very quickly, they're adding a SQL component onto it because you just get much better adoption rate through it. So,
yeah,
so I'm
agreed.
glad that I was able to answer your question. All right, what else do we have from the announcements?
So the next thing, Microsoft started to talk about all sorts of new AI functions in Fabric. The ability to like create AI as a function that you can just call inside of a notebook, so you can script it once, use it many different times as just like an API call, and then some advancements with the AI skills and the Azure AI service agent integration. This is some really cool stuff that they started to roll out here. A number of new capabilities are starting to pop in. You're just going to be able to like leverage AI um, uh, in a more controlled way broadly across your solution. So it becomes part of what you're doing. The reason I find this incredibly beneficial is because like AI is a great skill set for data scientists to know how to use and work, and that's all well and good. But these tools are making it much easier so that as analysts or data engineers or even just business professionals, they could start to take advantage of these capabilities in this low code way. And with the new AI, oh crap, what they call it? AI functions. That means data scientists can help curate a function for business users to then just leverage in many different ways, all in one environment, all in one space. And you don't have to worry about juggling different tools, different environments, different things. So I think I think Fabric is going to be the largest step forward for data science in the history of data science because it brings data science to where the people and the business is operating and not like isolating it off somewhere. And these are big steps in that direction.
So I assume that still needs the F64 capacity or above, right?
Well, it sure
That's
would
all
be
they-
nice if these documentation listed that clearly, but I'm going to presume yes, that is
Yeah,
true too.
I'm willing to bet on that one for right now. So
yeah.
it'd be nice if there's other options, but
Agreed,
we'll see.
agreed. Let's see here. I don't know. We did demos on the AI skills a few weeks back. Watch that Restream. I've also got a very popular video on that as well. The next big one that is in the blog is the One Lake with open mirroring.
This is fun.
Basically, this means, or like today, you're able to mirror from like Azure SQL Managed Instance, Snowflake, and several other things, right?
Right. Yeah.
Kevin,
But this is going to let you pretty much mirror from a lot of different data sources. So I think open mirroring, people have been asking, how am I going to mirror from, say, we brought up Oracle earlier. So this open mirroring is going to allow you to write up something, and they're working closer with Oracle and everything to say, you know, hey, how can we give a standard solution through the open mirroring setup? One of the other things that I haven't dug into this, but Chris, I think I gave you a link to the LinkedIn post that, Mark, who works at Microsoft, he real quick after this got released, pushed out a way of going, hey, here's a way to do mirroring using open mirroring to Excel files. So, Excel is the biggest database on the planet. Is it?
what?
But so you could use it for that. What are you into here? You
This is
got
the actual
ads?
video he did.
Yeah, right. The link there is a video that he put together. So
Yeah. So don't like. All right, everybody on the live stream, let's get him. What do we got? We got like 20 some odd more people on here. Let's grow his subscribers by 20%. So
there you go.
by 20 people. So everybody head on over and go subscribe. This is fantastic. Oh, did you see that little transition he did?
Oh, nice. Post-production.
Watch this. Wow. What? Holy cow. That is some
Camtasia at its
production.
best.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier just to do these live and let it sit up there the way it was.
Let it
Post-production
go.
gets
Yeah,
so
this is a pretty cool piece of functionality. It's open mirroring. Basically, what it does is it allows you to mirror anything, any data that you can like stream into OneLake can mirror into Fabric. So Donald says if it could only mirror from an AS400, well, Donald, now those programs that you have from your AS400 that actually like dump files off automatically or on a like micro batch or micro burst schedule could create that mirror functionality into OneLake and into Fabric from the AS400. So that is now more possible than ever before.
And Donald, we look forward to when you have this working, that you come on, join the live stream, and show us how you did it. Everybody will love seeing that from the AS400.
Ain't that the truth? Everybody still running that IBM Iron will be real happy to get off, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's more than we'd like to admit. So,
yeah, yep, agreed.
And then looking at Christopher's comment, yeah, mirroring for on-prem SQL, that's supposed to be coming. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Did they announce that?
I mean, if he's talking about it, but yeah, I think that it's out there.
Did they announce it somewhere? I did not see that.
I thought they've talked about it for a while. I thought it in the public domain.
They've been talking about it for a while. The last I heard was the updates from June or July to the gateway was the last like true blocker that they had, and now that that's out, they can begin development. Oh, it was lightly spoken about as up and coming. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the June or July gateway update was required for them to start development. Like that blocked actual development, even on Microsoft's side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that that's out, though, I believe they can start. Oh, yeah, they needed that to be able to start development so that they could do it. My guess is any type of delay, in getting that gateway out initially, and then, I mean, we all know how development goes, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you have a delay, it pushes things out. So, that would be really nice to have as well. Just be aware that
And
there is a cost on that on-prem server to set up mirroring. Okay, so uh, Kevin, have you set up
it,
mirroring before?
well, I've set up mirroring for Azure SQL databases.
Hmm.
It was super easy, right? There was only one small thing that had to be turned on, which was a um, like a system level identity,
Yep.
and then you configure that in your database. But there was no other changes to the database. I always thought you needed change data capture turned on,
Hmm.
and it didn't need it. So to the Azure SQL database, it was extremely simple. So yeah, I haven't looked at what it's going to take to get over to the on-prem and whether you need change tracking or change data capture or
Well, they haven't
how they're
announced
going.
it. I mean,
Yeah. So
I don't even think it's in private preview. Like, I don't even
yeah.
think I can go into my NDAs. Well, maybe I can. I don't know.
I haven't heard a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So if
yeah,
I
yeah.
I did say something, it's not because I heard it, but I mean,
Um,
I would have always made assumptions it would work off of CDC, right? But
Correct, it doesn't.
it
It
yeah,
does need to well, yeah, and in Azure to make it highly performant and have less of a impact on your SQL database that, they own Azure, so they've just, kind of like set what the requirements are for that, and you can get that up and running to make that work.
well, yeah, because
Um,
they know where the transaction log is, and so they could just go through the transaction log and
right, and they can
yeah,
enrich the transaction log to make it work
right,
better,
right,
right?
right. So
Um, I will say that be aware of the load that this does put on your back end, right? Like every 30 seconds, mirroring is going to query that table, that database for every table and ask for changes. Like, any changes, any changes. Um, so be aware that that is something that is actively going to be running in the background on your SQL server, and be aware for that
yeah,
performance impact that will have, right?
but if it's using the transaction log again, like how replication does and things like that, then I think they've made that pretty efficient off of that, right? So
I
it's
don't
not
think
like
it
you're
uses.
querying.
I don't think it
You
uses the
think it's
log.
going to use it? Hmm.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm just going by what I saw in Snowflake.
Hmm.
Snowflake get queried every like 30 seconds, and not a uh, uh, not a horrible impact because Snowflake has zero cost to execute a previously executed query. So if there's no changes, there's zero cost and stuff like to execute on those. So
Yeah,
yes.
I would think if it's going against a Microsoft SQL server, they know
Mhm.
how to use that transaction log, and they're going to make it more efficient. And that even on prem, I would think that's what they would want to start just streaming the transaction log over
Yeah.
rather than hitting every table because they know what those all those commit points and everything look like, and they use it in other places. And it may just been getting the gateways to support bringing over that transaction log to make on-prem mirroring a possibility. But
Yep. But
all right,
that's all theoretical and it's not
yeah,
here yet. So and then the last big one that they announced at the big announcements was one like catalog, which is going to allow us to like manage and see stuff and be able to explore and govern resources. But honestly,
Have you seen it rolled out anywhere?
I haven't seen it rolled out anywhere. I haven't actually. I saw it in the videos, so I saw a screen grab of it on one of those those super fast pre-recorded things. Yeah, Don Parrish, One Lake catalog is moving in the right direction. This is a really good positive step forward. Very excited and happy about this one. This is a good thing. So, 100%.
Yeah. And while we got like one more minute or so,
Mm-hmm.
we got to do another shout out for workspace monitoring, even though I can't get it to work in any of my
Yes.
workspaces. But having the idea of an event house that's going to come in, and then you just turn on that workspace monitoring. Yeah, you don't have it on yours.
Yeah,
I
workspace monitoring is going to be right here, right?
Yeah, I have it there on mine, but every time I go to create it, the event house won't come up. So they're still working out some bugs on that. But
Yeah.
conceptually, right, we're going to have all of the, everything that you're running and all these things will put events into that event hub, right? So I'm thinking, you know, monitoring the jobs that run out of that workspace, right? And say, hey, if something fails, you find it rather than having the right little, like in a pipeline, you got to, write something that says if it fails, go ahead, send an email or a team message or whatever for every single step. You just kind of watch to see if something failed. Maybe use React, or whatever the data activator, I think, is which name are we calling it nowadays? um, it's changed 3 times, I think. But using the data activator to kind of watch it and just say, hey, this happened, send out an alert, right? I think is going to be wonderful. So
Well, and there was
yeah.
something in the service that's now missing. This is our last one. I was looked at it on Wednesday, and this made its rounds on the social media, but there was a data flow Gen 2. Why does that drop it? Oh yeah, okay. With CICD was an object that was in the Fabric service earlier this week. It's now gone because we're doing this live. But in theory, I should be maybe we can actually pull it forward
Oh,
and
yeah.
create uh, a data flow and check it into Git. So let's just try it. Let's just try it really quick here.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Gamiro talked about org apps. Org apps is going to be another big thing that was announced.
They announced
So
that? Really?
yeah, that's, I think, because I think I've seen it in one or two. Let me look in this one. But I
What
think I
is an
saw the
org
tile.
apps?
You have to, it's like another object that you create. You say new item.
Yeah.
And so in these org apps, you could have, org app preview. So you could do multiples of the apps within your workspace using an org app, so that you could push out, you could have all your reports just in one workspace. And instead of just using audiences, you could actually push out different apps. Um, I think this is the one that allows notebooks in it and everything.
What?
Yeah. So,
No way.
okay. I'm sorry.
Well, it's like you're going really far in. Hold on. I want to go back and see that.
Yeah,
But
we
we're
were
doing a
looking
live demo. I'm creating my
starting a
data
live
flow.
demo when you're about ready to shut it down for the. Oh, that's right. You're not
I don't have
working
a stand
today.
up today, so we're not
We're
as
not as.
pressed here.
I almost forgot about that.
Oh,
Yeah, so this
unsupported.
data flow that you produced, it says unsupported. I could have sworn I saw that they were out there
Wait,
too.
2 source controls. Oh,
Because it put the hidden.
The hidden thing in there.
Yeah. Man, I
Right.
hate those.
So close and yet. Well, okay, where's this ore gap? Where do I go to get an ore gap?
New item.
Yeah.
Search
Oh, look at
org
that.
right there.
It's literally right in front of me. Oh, these snakes will kill you. Org app live on Kratos BI. Org app creation time. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, it is apps v3. Oh, look at this. Let's start to add content. Workspace content. Got nothing. Okay.
Ooh, you can write overview pages.
Oh, look at that. That
Almost like a
is
little,
cool. I
yeah.
like that.
Instead of having to have your own report. Do you have any reports in this workspace?
I do not.
Yeah, that's why, because it would have to be a report. You don't have any notebooks in this workspace either, do you?
No, but I could. Oh, gosh. Look at all this stuff.
That's
Oh, I like
cool.
this a lot. Oh, okay. So this is the new grouping. This is officially how you should be setting up your org apps. I've just defined it right here now in the first live demo. I'm establishing this is the standard that everyone should follow when they create an org app. Firstly, is you have an overview page that explains what people are consuming, what information is there. Then you're going to break stuff up into reports, notebooks, paginated reports, and then links. And then you're going to organize as appropriately for things that are not tier 1 access items. Tier 1 access items, i.e., the things that everyone goes to all of the time, will go between the overview and the report section. So that one report that people are supposed to use every single day, all the time, that goes in here. Everything else goes in here, right? Everything.
Ooh, and you could, org apps could have an endorsement, so they could be promoted, they could be certified.
Look at that. Yes, settings, endorsement. Oh, look at that. You tag it.
I don't have tags on mine.
Why aren't you using tags?
No, I don't have the option. Mine just has
It's
about and has endorsement and not tags. Maybe I haven't turned it on in my tenant
I should create a video. What I can do what here? Oh, what just happened?
Could customize the theme. So you got a theme color you could change to, put your own image there. What was that? I just looked back and you were in the clouds or something.
Somehow I hit some button and it went over to it played a video, but I should create a video. That's true.
Well, now you
but
know what
yeah,
you're doing
look
the
at
rest
that.
of the day.
You can upload image, you can apply a theme. Oh, and look at this. Not some crappy pick one of my 13 colors that nobody ever asked for. Here, put in the hex code of the color that you want it to be. So you can actually have the, whatever it is, right? Whatever your blue color is. Oh, that is phenomenal. Hide this paint from views. Oh my gosh. You could collapse it by default. Oh, God bless it. All right. Well, we are gonna have to do a video on that. So stick around. Or I'll hang on. I'll come back and we'll do a video on this very soon. So I'm pretty excited about this one. All right.
That was a lot. Wow.
That was a lot. We are a bit over. Again, thank you guys all so much for joining us. If you want to support this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We really appreciate it. If you want to support us with your existing shopping, click on the affiliate link inside that I just posted in chat over on Amazon. Anything you buy then goes to help the channel out and helps keep my wife off my back when I do this stuff, because I
Get
can
that
say, hey, look, I made $5 here.
get that $10,000 table to help you out with $50.
Right. But in reality, thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful for you guys all.
Yes.
Kevin, I'll let you have the last words this week.
No, it's the same thing. Just, this time of year, we should do it more often, but saying how grateful we are. We're grateful that people come and join us in the chat, talk to us and meet us in person. It's been another wonderful year of doing this. So thank you, Chris, for everything that you do. You do a lot to really promote the community and everything. All of these videos that you put out there, running the data gods and everything. You lift a lot of people up, and I really appreciate that of you. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. You guys, this is the best community ever. You guys have the best day ever. Okay.
All right.
Peace. Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.